Today's video is sponsored by Audible. Audible has the world's largest selection of audiobook content. They have every book you could think of, maybe some self-help books. You ever wanted to start a podcast? You ever wanted to start a YouTube channel? They have books and all of that. That's some of the stuff I've been consuming over the last 5 years. I've listened to a lot of books, guys. You guys can listen to them when you drive. You can listen to books when you're at the gym. You can listen to books when you're cutting grass, when you're washing dishes, when you're washing clothes. Instead of wasting that time doing those chores, you could be learning something, or you could be listening to one of your favorite fantasies. Now, Audible is offering anyone listening to this a free 30-day trial where you could download a book, listen to the entire thing, and you could cancel anytime. So there's no risk. You get a free book. You will help support our channel. Somebody reached out to me and they're like, oh, you should check this guy out. Like, this guy's like working really hard. And I looked up your page and then I saw that you're posting a new song every Friday, or you're producing something every Friday. And I was like, damn, that's cool that you keep it consistent and you're building that brand on Friday. How long have you been doing that for?
Yeah, so I'm in the 5th week right now, so I just released the 5th single. I'm going to do it for a year straight, so I've committed to a year-long campaign with that.
Yeah.
I've been making music, though, for longer than I can remember, since I was 12. And I've been sitting on this catalog of music that I've made in the recent years, like the past 3 years. And I took a little break for a while and was just like, I got to stop messing around and start dropping all this music, because it's doing me no good sitting on my hard drive. And I feel like, as an artist, it's painful to sit on the stuff that you create. I'm sure you feel that way.
No, yeah, I have a bunch of videos I haven't edited or stuff that I need to make. And it's good that you're sticking to that Friday video, because for me, when I make a Coachella video, I tell people it's every Monday.
Yeah.
And you would think like people aren't really paying attention to that, but they do. Like, I get messages on my Instagram all the time, like, are you dropping a video today? It's at 7 p.m. You haven't posted one today. Are you still dropping a Monday video? And for you, like, you're barely getting started, but let's say 2 weeks down the road, they're going to see that you're posting every Friday, and then a week later, they might get busy, they might not be able to listen to your song, but the week after, oh, it's Friday, and they haven't listened to the one from last week, so now you're getting people to listen to 3 songs.
Yeah, and I mean, the way a lot of these platforms too are working, it makes all your old content way more discoverable too, right?
Yeah.
So like I was showing with a buddy of mine last night who was saying, oh dude, like I was tuning into the releases that you're doing, and I was listening to the latest one, and because the algorithm puts things on shuffle, the next thing he heard was a song of mine that I released probably a year and a half ago, and he was like, I'd never heard that one before. I was fucking dope and all that stuff. So I'm like, man, if nothing else, the fact that the consistency of releases, of putting in that time and putting out that body of work, it leads to people finding and discovering all the stuff that I've built up in the past too, which is pretty freaking cool because it lives forever now.
Yeah, so that's the golden age of the internet. They could discover, they discover you for a new thing that they see promoted or something.
Yeah.
Then they could go through your whole catalog and just little by little you start getting a fan base, and that's why people sometimes they get discouraged, like, oh, I don't want to post a song, or I don't want to do this because it's not perfect, or how do you deal with perfection?
Yeah. So there's a few ways I feel about that. Like I was previously like in a deal where everything that we did was very calculated, very strategic, and it's not bad to do that. It's definitely good to have a plan of action and know what you're doing. But at the same point in time, in the era we're living in, everything is digested so quickly, and people are consuming content on a constant basis. There's no
the feeds are going crazy.
Yeah, so I'm much more of a believer of like if you build it, they'll come, right? Like if you provide quality work and a database of it and a large amount of it, people will recognize that and they'll consume it on their own time.
Yeah.
Like we were talking, before the cameras turned on about like podcasts and stuff like that, and like I'll consume a 3-hour podcast over the course of a day while I'm, cleaning the house or going to the gym or doing whatever. But same thing with an album, you know? And people don't really listen to albums anymore too. Mm-hmm. That's another debate I had with myself when embarking on this, new campaign of weekly singles was, do I just want to drop a few projects? Because I've got bodies of work that I put together, but how do I listen to music?
Yeah.
How are you listening to music?
And that's the like back then, people had to put up albums because you had one hit song on the radio, and that song, it was promoted everywhere. So if you wanted to listen to that song, you had to buy the whole CD, and then the CD was a body of work.
People were selling 10 million albums, bro.
Yeah, no, and and those songs, they made up a story. Like some albums had a whole like story or or a whole message. So back then you could create a project like that, but today you listen to one song, you don't have to spend $10 to listen to that song. You can just stream it, or even if people somehow are still buying music, you can buy it for $1 instead of spending $10 on the album. So that's the problem today too. Like I think I saw an article, Beyonce complaining about that people don't listen to albums anymore. But it's like you can't be mad at people not buying albums. You gotta be mad at the people that kind of abuse that system. Like they gave you 9 crappy songs so you could buy the one song that was good on the radio. So you're spending the $15 so you could listen to their whole catalog.
That's a good point. I don't think it undermines the legitimacy of creating an album or creating a body of work, but there's definitely something to be said for tailoring your product for what the market is, responding to.
Yeah.
Right. But again, like to speak to the other point, people who are putting together good bodies of work are still succeeding, right?
Yeah.
We have the Coles, we have the Kendricks, we have people who put together albums that are intended to be digested as albums.
Yeah.
And we respect it, right, when it's quality. But for where I am, I definitely think that releasing singles and giving people the diversity of content is probably the best thing I can do, because then I can see what people actually want from me, right? Because as an artist, I'm off in La La Land 9 times out of 10, just creating whatever I want to create, because that's, what I'm inspired to do in the moment. But it's not necessarily what people want from me, right?
Yeah, well, that's cool that you mentioned, because you do make a lot of different styles of music. Like I saw your post where you said you had like almost every single genre covered, so you're just always experimenting.
Yeah.
And that way you can look at your analytics and see which ones are resonating more with people, which ones are getting more playbacks.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's never what you think it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And it's also different in different regions. So we were talking before about how you were making videos, and you'll see shit popping off in different countries. Like I've got a record that I almost didn't put on my last project that popped the fuck off in Germany for whatever reason. Like sold a bunch of records there, and it streamed there consistently, and now I've got a fan base in Germany that.
You never.
What, like they don't.
You never even consider like marketing to Germany, but somehow the internet.
And now based off those analytics, I'm going, okay, so how do I design a campaign that speaks to German people who fuck with hip hop, who might like more of my music, and how do I design something that allows them to make a decision to listen to and stream and purchase more of my music. Because if something resonates, well, shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something there. Yeah.
That's what I did with my Coachella videos. When I started, I had 2 videos that got a lot of views for Coachella content. I was like, I gotta start looking at my analytics and see what kind of videos they want. So I saw positive feedback, comments saying thank you for making this video. I was like, okay, I'll make a little bit more. Yeah. And then the more I made, the more people wanted it, and I was like, okay, cool. So I made it consistent every Monday. So right now, looking like long term, what's like your 5-year plan? So you were talking about how technology is changing so much. So how do you see the music industry changing over the next 2 to 5 years?
So that's a pretty multifaceted question, right?
Yeah.
On a personal level, right now, the only thing that I can say for myself is I'm going to be consistent with releasing music and content. Music does not pay my bills by any means. I own a few different businesses, and those are where my income comes from. So I'm at a really unique place where, for the first time after having struggled financially for a lot of years, I'm good, and I'm creating from a place of love and creating from a place of just pure joy of wanting to create. Right. I think the game is going to shift more towards more accessibility and more people from all different countries being able to discover the content. Right. And there's, of course, going to be problems with oversaturation, which I'm sure you see on YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lane for people to find your shit a lot easier, and the audience will be able to resonate with it better, right? Like, the algorithm's going to get better at detecting what people will more likely want to stumble upon your content. And because of that, you're going to see more people, finding you that would want to find you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna benefit everyone in the long run. I think the world's 7 billion people, like we were talking about earlier, and there's an audience for everyone who's doing something of quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And quality, that's one of the keys to quality.
Yeah,
quality
it matters.
Quality matters, and long-term quality matters, because you might not be getting all the views right now, you might not be getting the listens right now, but if you know that your stuff is really good and people that listen to it, it's better to have 30 people listen to your stuff that really resonate with it than having 1,000 streams that no one even remembers who you are.
It's facts, man.
And just keep consistently, because you never know. Like Gary Vee, you follow Gary Vee.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
So he's always like, you're one piece of content away from blowing up. And,
correct.
And you never know what's gonna hit. So just keep consistently putting out that content. And as far as like 2 to 5 years, yeah, it's gonna be just faster. Everything's faster right now. People drive-throughs, fucking Uber Eats. Everything's about saving time. Getting the stuff you want. You don't want to be skipping songs on Spotify. Like if the algorithm's picking songs that you're gonna keep liking, like that's just gonna make it better for people that are making that quality content.
Yeah. I mean that's a good point too. With talking about the other technologies, like one of the quotes I really like that Gary speaks on is the biggest taxi service owns 0 cars. That's Uber, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest, food delivery service owns 0 restaurants. It's Postmates or Uber Eats or whatever. And then, one of the things I think about is the biggest A&R or the biggest tastemaker in music isn't a label. It's Spotify's algorithm or it's Apple Music's algorithm, Yeah. There's a lot of the shit that is applicable to multiple industries, and you're seeing it the more we get deeper into this, technological revolution that we're experiencing, and it's just going to get faster and faster.
And how long since you started your music career? Because you said you were doing music before, and then you're getting back into it. What happened, or how did you start your music career?
So it's a long story. I started music when I was like 12, so I started making music. I discovered I could plug headphones into the microphone jack on my computer, and it would act as a microphone.
Yeah. And
I could, use Windows Sound Recorder and press record and play a beat over my speakers and like rap into it. And I thought, okay, that's pretty fucking cool. Now how do I do it better? And so slowly just kept making music every day for a decade, really. Like, just honed my craft. High school, I was the kid selling mixtapes out of my backpack, rapping at, like, lunchtime ciphers, that kind of thing.
You grew up here in the Valley?
Yeah, looking to high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was super, hip-hop head nerd kind of thing.
Yeah.
And was one of those, like, bars, better above everything. And then I got to college and fucking 2009 was when I graduated, so that's the year So Far Gone came out, right?
Yeah.
And then I went, holy shit, okay, so if I want to be competitive in music, I have to step up the quality of the shit that I'm releasing, at least to a level where someone could subjectively think that my stuff's good enough to listen to over something like this.
Yeah.
So I went into kind of like hiding for a little bit. I teamed up with a production team out on the East Coast, BHB, super dope producers. And we ended up making a bunch of projects together while I was in college. And I got like a pretty decent sized buzz on the internet off of those. So those were, really cohesive bodies of work. And we did 4 projects, and they got some, decent press, decent spins, all that. And after college, I kind of realized, like, if my career is going to go to that next plateau, that next level, I need to really invest.
Yeah.
And music is one of those games where it sucks, but, like, if you've been deep into it, it takes some fucking money, bro.
To get some traction, yeah.
Takes some real level of investment. And, I'm just out of college. I'm working a good job, but I don't have the funds to do what I wanted to do, right? So I go, okay, if I make music for myself for the rest of my life, I'm going to be happy,
Yeah.
I make music because I want to make music. don't need it to be a career, don't need it to be, you know, anything outside of the pure joy of making that art. So I said, okay, I'm just going to take a break, live life for a while. And while I was in that process, I got linked up with a guy in LA who was from St. Thomas over in the Virgin Islands. And he happened to be in LA. I knew him through a mutual friend. And he said, you know, I want to sit down with you and talk to you. So we sat down and I didn't think much of it, but like I was, you know, fucking drinking a pitcher of margarita. And
just having a good time.
Yeah, having a good time sitting down talking with him. It was him and his buddy Cairo, who's one of the best artists I've ever met in my entire life. Like digital artist, right?
Okay.
Super ill. Does a bunch of artwork for a lot of major artists. Really dope, and also just one of the best humans ever. But super intimidating guy, right? Like you sit down with him, and he's, you know, bald head, tatted up to his skull, like all over, and the other dude, you know, is just like grilling me, like, you know, what do you want out of music? Where do you want to be? What is your vision for yourself? And I'm, you know, just telling him, you know, I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, you weren't really looking into logistics. You were just doing it for the passion.
Right. And well, I told him what I wanted. You know, like ultimately, like what my goals are. Because don't get me wrong. While I love doing music for the sake of doing music, I wholeheartedly believe I can be one of the biggest artists in the world. I 1,000% believe in my ability because I put the fucking time in. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm very confident in my craft and what I do because I know how much time. You know, I was with me shooting in the gym. You feel me? Like, yeah. You feel me? Like,
I get you.
Yeah, I've spent more time on that than I know most people spend time on any particular, you know, endeavor that they go on. So I think I can do that. I totally think I can do that.
That's good. You gotta have that confidence because if you don't believe in yourself, no one's gonna believe in you in the beginning. So it's just you gotta have that mindset and shoot for being the best. Like you can't just shoot for I'm gonna shoot till I make it or that just you're kind of playing yourself a wrong turn right there by just thinking.
Yeah, you're undermining your own potential. Everyone's got potential, man. It's a function of time and then investing in the stuff that you know. And by investing, I don't necessarily mean monetarily. I mean time, commitment,
effort,
to the things that you know you've got like a proclivity or you've got a drive to do, right? Like you like podcasting or you like making these videos, dude. Like you made a commitment. Okay, one a week. I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn, you know, better editing skills. I'm going to, you know, you recognize what you're passionate about and what you're willing to put the time into, and then you do that. It's that simple. But yeah, so after that meeting with the homie. He started hitting me up regularly and asking me to, you know, send him the music I was working on and stuff like that. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like someone gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'll definitely do that, right? And then about 6 months after that, he called me up and he was like, hey, bro, I want to seriously invest in, you know, your career and what you're doing. But if I do this, you got to quit your job and you've got to, you know, move out to St. Thomas, which is in the middle of the Caribbean.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like 22, dude. And at this point in time, like I'd really gotten my fucking life together. Like I was a kid, but man, I was poised to take over this company I was working at. I was making fucking bank, dude, and it felt great. You know, like that was the first time I felt like, okay, I have my life entirely together.
Yeah.
And then I was asked to give it all up, right? And I did. So,
yeah, that's good.
So with it, I like the next day I walked into work and I told, you know, the CEO of the company, like, yo, I'm giving my notice. I've got to leave. I got offered this opportunity, and so I moved over to the Virgin Islands and didn't look back after that.
That's sick, man.
Yeah.
So you what happened when you got to the Virgin Islands?
So I locked in and made a shitload of music. Just we were working, we were grinding, we were building. You know, met a lot of great people out there. Like I've got people out there that I'll consider family till the day I die. Like I'll probably.
How long you were there for?
On and off for like 3 years.
3 years.
So it gets, you know, complicated in the sense that was home base, But I was spending a lot of time in New York, a lot of time in Atlanta, and a lot of time in Nashville, and bouncing between all
the four spots.
Yeah, where I was just making music in these different cities and going for extended periods.
Were you releasing music like projects? What were you doing when you were like working there?
Yeah, so I dropped The Vibe, which was the last like full length project that I put out while I was living in the Virgin Islands, and that was recorded, at home, and then also over in. Sorry about that. My dog's coming up to say hi.
I have a dog on my podcast all the time.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, so that was recorded out in St. Thomas, also in California, and Atlanta, and Nashville, and New York. So I was going to all these different places and just building a body of work that I felt strongly about. And so that's when I dropped that. Yeah.
Yeah, and how was the reception for it? So you because you said you were getting some good feedback.
Yeah, so that one got radio play on a lot of different stations. It got a decent amount of streams. It got picked up by different channels. I did press runs off of it. We executed it pretty well, but there's definitely things in retrospect I'd do differently. But that's anything in life, right?
And do you end up doing any like live performances or?
Oh yeah, definitely. So performed a couple different shows in New York and. In Atlanta, did a festival. Like I was doing little stuff here and there, and that's my favorite part of it.
Yeah,
I love that more than anything else.
Do you have people to recognize your music from that?
Yeah,
from going to those places.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean that no doubt is the number one thing you can do. I feel like is getting in front of people and showing them what you can do. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the convincer. Like that sells it because like a lot of people. Are wonderful songwriters. A lot of people are great at making beats or whatever, but entertainment and performance is a totally different aspect.
Different game.
Yeah, and it's a totally different skill set. But for me personally, like that's my favorite part of it.
Is the performing?
Yes. Yeah.
That's sick. And so you touched base on that stuff that you had going on. So what made you take a break? Because you say you just got back into music again. So what happened?
Yeah. So my buddy, the one that I was telling you about that I met in LA and then moved to San. So he passed away pretty recently.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Matt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was my brother, bro. Like he's my brother. Yeah. So it didn't feel right. To release anything in the wake of that. And honestly, I didn't know what I was allowed to do or not do.
Because he was like your producer or?
No, not producer, but business partner, right?
Oh, okay.
And so in the wake of everything, it was just, I had to take a break. And we had plans to release certain things, but didn't feel right. But now I'm at the stage where it doesn't feel right for me to sit on the content that we created and not do anything with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta do something for the people that still are checking for my music while they're checking for my music, because otherwise I'd be doing a disservice to them and a disservice to myself, right?
Yeah, you already have the established people that mess with your music, and if you kind of phase out, a lot of people just they're gonna unfollow, they're gonna forget about your music, because you said it's so saturated that if you disappear, unless you already made it big, like no one's gonna listen to your stuff, and it's harder to get started again than when you already have the ball rolling.
Right, and there's a lot of people that were checking for me that I feel like I did a disservice to by waiting as long as I did, right? Like we're talking about the importance of that consistency, man. I released the Vibe, I want to say 2017 or 2016, something like that, and then waited a year before dropping the next project. It doesn't make sense when I'm someone who can come up with a song and execute it start to finish within a day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I've got a lot to say.
So you have so much practice that you could make a song almost in a day. So that's pretty good.
Correct. Yeah. Like, I mean, if I'm sitting down and really working on it, man, like, I know the level of output that I can have. So it's it's wrong of me to not respect that too, right? Like, and especially when there's an audience that is checking for it. Like, I'd be a dick if I wasn't, like doing everything I could to get them the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming performances, or are you looking just to create new music every week, or what's your plan right now, like short term?
Yeah, both. So obviously going to be continuing this campaign of singles every Friday, and I'm going to keep it up for at least a year. But yeah, I just was talking to my buddy who's working at that 420 lounge down the street.
Yeah.
And he's going to be doing a concert series, so he wants me to go ahead and perform there. And then I'm looking to get as involved as I can in the local scene. Mm-hmm. So I definitely want to start doing a lot more shows out here. Like that's going to be the priority now that I'm releasing music, is like figuring out how do I build and help cultivate a scene out here for local music, and then get together some events that we can start pushing on the valley and get some shit popping, because I feel like there's a lot of people that come in from out of the valley, and there's a few people doing it out here, but there's no unified scene.
Yeah, that's for sure. Something I've been noticing, because I've had a lot of artists come on my podcast so far. And
hook me up with him, man.
Yeah, I'll give you my boy. He has another podcast out there in La Quinta. His name's Raw Thought Radio.
Okay.
And they have a lot of more artists there. They're more focused on the art, on the rapper scene, the hip hop, whatever bands. So right now, those guys, like, everybody's really supportive, collaborating, like supporting each other, going to Bart's Lounge or whatever they're performing. People support each other, because that's what it's gonna be. And then in January, they had an event called Desert Drip, which they're supposed to do one next year, and that one, it was all funded by like local people. Like they didn't really get any like big sponsors, because they were trying to go with the city, and the city didn't want, like, because it was Chief Keef and Mozzie and like more.
I think I heard about that show.
Gangster rap stuff. So the city didn't want to get involved with that. So these guys kind of like got together.
Was there anyone local on the bill?
There was like a couple local ones. Okay. Not the main card, but that's what they want to do next year, is involve more locals. Like, yeah, you have a couple big names, but there's already good enough talent here in the valley that the undercard or any, they could all be there, and then it gets you more exposure to locals. It gives you more exposure even to these artists. They might like the way you perform or the music, and you never know where that's gonna go.
For sure.
So that happened this January. They were thinking about doing 2 this year, so I don't know logistically if they can do another one by the end of the year. But that's just the beginning too. Like, it could only keep getting better.
Yeah.
I know, like, the mayor of Coachella, that I had a podcast with him.
No way.
Yeah. So he's been wanting to just expand more and more stuff, like especially just in the city of Coachella or the city of Indio people too. They're trying to create more events, and out here in Palm Springs, you have all the clubs, you have everything here too. So we just need, like you said, we need something that unifies everything. You need something like a hub, or I don't know. We'll see what we can do.
No, that's facts though, because you're right. There's a shitload of venues now, and I feel like downtown Palm Springs, like, that's one of the reasons I wanted to live out here, is because I feel like this area is doing so much to develop and so much to grow and cultivate, like, cool new places and a local scene. Like, I feel like the music piece is missing though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no group of people that I look out here and I go, oh yeah, my dog's being fast. There's no group of people I look out here and I go, oh yeah, that's the ones that are doing it.
Yeah.
Together and really going. And I want to figure out what I have to do to be that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, what steps I need to take to make that happen. He's being crazy. Poppy, what are you doing? What are you doing, low man? I'll grab here. But yeah, I think that's missing, and I think it's something that could be. I think it's something that could be done. Like, there's enough people out here, and there's enough dope people, and there's enough venues, and there's enough, there's enough people now to where we could have that kind of a local music scene, and be looked at not just as like a destination place for people from LA to come relax, but like a cool place to visit because there's poppin' shit going on.
Yeah, and especially with LA, like, everybody's moving to LA to either be an influencer or the music scene it is, but we have you could almost do everything here.
Or what? We
need to create the valley as a hub as well. Like, you don't need to move to LA to do that. Why not do it here? Why not work with what we have? And it's not like we live in a terrible place. Like,
no, dude,
just look outside, bro. Like,
beautiful.
The mayor and the podcast I had with him, he was saying, look up to the skies. Like, they're billionaires are flying their private jets to come to the valley.
Yes.
But the people here are complaining that the valley sucks or it's boring or this, and like when you actually look at the people that know, like this is the place to be, and we always want to be like, oh, let's move to LA or let's move to LA. Like,
correct.
Why not set the foundation now to create that art scene here? That's kind of what I do.
Yeah, man, it's nuts because like growing up, you know, I always was like, fuck, man, I can't wait till I'm older and I can leave. You know, I can't wait to go to, you know, New York. I can't wait to go to Atlanta. I can't wait to go to Los Angeles. I can't wait to, you know, but I'll tell you what, man, I moved back here and looked around and I was like, fuck, I took this for granted, bro. You know, this is a beautiful area. There's a lot of really great people, and it's hard to beat the scenery. You know, like if you're gonna talk about places where there's no ocean, it's hard to get more beautiful than this.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a big ocean head, so
even the mountains, like.
But that's what I'm saying. Yes.
Like the whole country's flat. Like there's nothing.
Bro, where else do you go where it's desert and it's, you know, 70 degrees and you can look around and there's snow-capped mountains?
Exactly. There's no.
That shouldn't happen.
It's actually the lowest. I think it's either California or the United States, where the lowest altitude and the highest altitude, the difference by going on the tram, the 10,000 feet. It's a 10,000 foot difference, and it's the biggest difference in the whole United States or something, besides like the Rocky Mountains or some shit.
That's right. Tram's underrated, man.
Yeah,
that's a great tram, dude. I ate an edible and went up the tram, and that was one of the coolest fucking experiences.
Dude, the tram's badass, and not enough people like go to it. Even over there, I've been to the natural Palm Oasis that's over there in Washington. That's Washington.
No.
So that's where the San Andres Fault is at. So because the two tectonic plates, the North American plate and Pacific plate, they meet right there. That's where the San Andres Fault. So right on the fault, there's palm trees and everything that's been growing just naturally from the earth in the middle of the desert, like on the other side of the mountains.
Seriously.
And there used to be 1,000 palms there, and they got burned down in like the 30s or something. Like it was like a big fire. So there's still a lot of palm trees, but that's the whole reason it's called 1,000 Palms in that area, because there used to be over 1,000 palms just in the middle of the desert, just because of the tectonic plates bringing that water.
I had no idea. So is that like a hike or is it?
It's a trail for like hiking. They also have like a kind of a mini hut. It looks like somebody used to live there, like back in the day. Like it's made out of like just nothing but palm trees and shit. Like it's a little house.
It's kind
of like a museum. They also show you like the animals that live there, the wildlife. There's like owls. Sometimes like coyotes, snakes. Like you don't really see them because they stay away from people because they're scared of. Like we're scared of those animals, but they're more scared of us.
Yeah.
But they have little.
Rightfully
trails.
so, man. I'd be afraid of a giant beast approaching me too.
And I think that they've spotted before like mountain lions, but they're super rare. Like you never really see them.
Those are pretty badass. Though.
And just little animals. There's little animals, but it's so dope. Like you said, you probably never been to it. And it's free.
Yeah,
like,
dude, I grew up in La Quinta.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
You drive to it. It's free. You have the tram. You have all these like hiking trails here in Palm Springs, or like
there's some great spots.
The cove over there in La Quinta, like that's amazing. Like it's just we live in a great area, and like we said, we're like, oh, it's boring, or there's nothing to do here.
What's funny to me too is the other thing, like with Palm Springs in particular, because growing up in La Quinta, I'd never come out this way, and then I lived here and was like, oh. Shit, this is, as close to a city as we got, right? Like, city. And, not to say that it's urban in any sense, but there's definitely a lot more potential with the Strip and with, the places that we have available to build a local community and a local place where people can kick it. And, man, like, I feel like, they just passed a law in this last year where this is going to be one of, I think, 7 cities that's going to be able to stay open until 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so it's like, dude, out of all the cities in California, there's 7 of them, and this is one of them.
Dude, that potential, it's crazy.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's...
People are going to start looking at it as like a party city, too. It already is. It's kind of like already a destination.
I go out on the weekends, and I'm just like... what is going on with the number of bachelorette parties, and everywhere you go you see it, like it's progressively, like even even in like the last 5 years, it's just so much more of a destination location for a lot of people from outside of here, and I think we could leverage that to build such a dope local scene.
Even the Kardashians, and then they come to Palm Springs like once a month.
Right? Didn't they just get a house?
Well, they have a house here, and I think they also have a house like in La Quinta or something.
Yeah,
and they're always here.
I saw Kanye's buying a house out here too.
Yeah,
like shit,
all the time. Like that's what I'm saying. All these super rich people are moving to the valley, and we have the valley, and like we have to take advantage of it right now because it's gonna happen how it happens. Like all these people move in and they take over, and then it becomes this whole thing. But the space is to be taken right now.
Well, what's nuts to me is like, dude, like if we've got people like Kanye and Kim coming in and that level of celebrity, right? If we had a local scene established where it was like, no matter where you go, if you're asking, so what's going on in the city, like what's popping, what's dope, and you could say, oh yeah, no, artist XYZ, I want it to be me. I don't give a shit if it's me, right? Like, whatever we end up getting behind, right, is having a show that's popping. That shit is crazy. This is the record that is going off in the valley right now.
Yeah.
This is the spot. This is the place. This is the restaurant. Like, dude, we don't have that.
We don't have that. That's so true.
This is the clothing brand for the valley. You know what I'm saying? Like,
if you we got to think about how to establish that, because if you make it a destination, let's say maybe it's not every weekend, maybe it becomes too much if it's every weekend, maybe twice a month, once a month, where it's a whole event where everybody
have to be that often. Yeah, it just needs to be something.
Yeah, so when someone comes up, it's like, oh, dude, at the end of the month, they always, like, for example, the boxing at the Fantasy Springs Casino, they have it once a month. It's Golden Boy Productions or whatever, promotions.
Okay.
Oscar De La Hoya, Canelo Alvarez, like all these people come once a month to do like these like local boxing scenes, and that's every month, and all kinds of celebrities. Like if you go, it's like $20 a ticket. You always end up seeing like 2 or 3 super famous boxers just checking out the scene.
See, and I had no idea about that, but because it's popping, you told me, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a spot for people that love fighting. Like even if you don't know who's fighting, because it's usually smaller people.
Yeah.
They even have, depending on the season, they show that on ESPN live from Fantasy Springs. Like, see, that's crazy.
That's nuts. And I think what needs to happen is like more people need to come together that are doing shit, that are creating, that are DJs, artists, content creators, whatever, and have conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like not even like podcast conversations, but like just fucking link up.
Yeah.
Like all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like not just one-on-one, like have a community, a collective of people that are dedicated towards meeting up and just discussing what the fuck we can do to do better.
I've been telling to people about that same thing. Like,
I'm game, bro. Sign me up. Like
I want to have some kind of I don't know, like some kind of, like exactly
a
collective where even we have a meeting once a month. We have a meeting where we all go over plans. We all go over actual things that we could do, not just have conversations. Oh, we should do something, but if you have no plan, that's just talking into the air, you know.
And even as simple as, hey, bro, what are you working on, and how can I help?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know you before today. Someone recommended we talk. We're sitting down. We're talking now. I meet you, and you're a good dude. You're a good fucking human. I want to help you out. Yeah. Right? Like, you know, you're helping me out by putting me on your platform. Anything you do that I can share, I'm willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that shit is not existing here. I feel like there's a crab in a bucket mentality, and it's like, oh, you know, like, I can only have the attention.
Exactly. That's what I tell people too. And that the simple things too, because like a lot of people care about the numbers, like on social media, for example.
Who gives a fuck?
And I tell them, like, it doesn't matter the individual post. You got to think about the whole collective. Like, the likes you're getting now, they're not getting you shit 5 years from now. It doesn't matter. Like, just focus on building your brand, and if you want me to support your stuff, tag me, because sometimes we have so much shit on our feed. We have to deal with like personal stuff. If you tag me, if you send me your links, if you send me your videos, I'm gonna watch. Like, I want to support more people, and I keep telling people, like, just tag me. If you need help with something, just reach out. Like, maybe if I can't help you, I know someone that can help you, or I could lead you to, oh, you need graphic design, I know someone does that, or you need somebody does screen printing, I know somebody does that, or you know, like that's part of the networking. We have to work with each other,
and it all helps everyone. It helps everyone involved. It's not like a thing where you helping someone hurts you. No, it's better. Like I feel like there's a shitload of potential that's untapped just in people coming together out here, and I would really like to see that change happen in the next year. Like
for sure.
Yeah.
And like we said, we have if we don't do it, someone's gonna do it eventually, and there's gonna be people coming from out of the valley.
Facts.
That's gonna happen.
Facts, and they're gonna come in with something pre-established and post up, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know,
they're gonna suck up the space, and we're done. So,
like, you look at the events we have out here, like even with what Golden Voice does. How often are their local acts incorporated into any of those events?
They have like maybe 2, and they have them playing like at 12 and shit. Like
right,
they're not really.
That's our fault. That's my fault. You know, like one thing I realized is like I haven't been vocal enough and I haven't been active enough in the local scene. My fault. You know, I gotta step my shit up and make sure that people know I'm fucking out here and I'm trying to do some shit, right?
Yeah.
Like same with you in terms of like your podcast and what you're doing. Like you have planted a flag and you're letting people know, hey, I'm the person who is, you know, leading the forefront on this podcasting shit in the Coachella Valley. This is what's happening. You know, like we're creating this, right? So I feel like if we had enough people that are trying to do that sort of shit come together and talk on a regular basis, we'd be so far ahead and we'd be ready for whenever outside people come in, and we'd have something we could monetize too.
Yeah.
We could all eat off it.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of people. That's what eventually they want. They want to follow their passion, and hopefully the passions pay for their lifestyle or whatever.
Right.
But it's all about action and making a right plan. Like we can't just be wishing these things happen if we're not taking initiative. So
correct.
We do gotta link up. So if you guys are listening to this or watching us on YouTube, like reach out to us, and hopefully after today we'll come out with something after the podcast.
Yeah, no, for real. Like honestly, like I'm 100% down and committed to that. Like if anyone, hi guys, if anyone reaching out to us, you know, from there wants to get involved and work and figure out a collective or a community that we can, you know, find a way to meet up regularly and talk about how we can further the scene out here, 100% down for that.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe even like club owners or see where it's a hub that we could make it that place.
Yes.
It all comes down to having a specific location, or no, it doesn't have to be a location, but it could be a branded scene where that event promoter or that event promoter person is setting it up in different places.
Dude, even a night once a month at a particular venue where we all come in, and first of all, we're gonna, you know, give them guaranteed business.
And I think that's better once a month, because like we were saying, if we make it every week, it's gonna get
that'd be people have lives.
Yeah,
let's be
real.
real.
And you could build the hype for it. You build a hype. You bring in 10 people to perform. I don't know, just as an example.
It doesn't even need to be that. It could be a mixer, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
It could be conversations. Like we don't need to make it about highlighting any particular one thing, but about bringing the group of people together so that they can exchange ideas and have conversations.
Yeah, like even a local coffee shop or one of those like conference rooms. I could probably talk to the mayor of Coachella. That dude, I'm cool with them. Maybe he'll let us use the library because I have a conference room there.
Yeah.
That we could schedule once a month. Even I'll pay for whatever they charge out of mine. And then invite as many people as we can to have for conversations. Like, I'm down to get that started. So, because we do have to take the initiative.
You could purpose that as a piece of content.
You
know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. It would work. It would work.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me. Like even you mentioning like, you know, local clubs and stuff like that. Like that's one thing that's fucked up to me personally, because my shit spins in clubs in other cities. But this is not an area where I can go up to a DJ and be like, hey, what's up? You know, I'm an artist out here. I just put this record out. I'd appreciate any support or work that, you know, you can do as far as getting it into your set. I don't feel like we have the kind of environment where you can have that same level of networking with even like DJs or people. Like, they're not going to spin my shit at Copa.
Yeah.
I go in there and buy bottles. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's backwards. It's backwards. I'm a local person who goes in and supports your business, but the DJs aren't, they got to stick to a format. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But here's the difference, right? If we can develop a scene that's like dope enough, and you know people are supporting and rallying behind different people, well, you're gonna want to play a record.
You're gonna have to, because people are gonna demand to. Yeah.
Same thing. Like, dude, if there was someone who had a local liquor company, right, and it was demanded enough at the bar, they're gonna 100% get that support.
Exactly, but they don't do that with music or content. Yeah.
I have never gone into any venue out here ever once in my entire life, and you know I've been 21 for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, and heard a local artist play.
That's crazy.
Atlanta, that's all you hear. New York, that's all you hear.
I have cousins from Chicago, and they were telling me they have underground like rap scenes where like it's literally like badass, like people are there, like the support is crazy. Because here we have events like small clubs like Bart's Lounge in the Hood. They have like local artists perform, but
they're performing for their friends. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. We haven't developed a scene that's dope enough to where it's attracting people to the event itself.
Yeah,
and I think there's the difference, right? Like if we had a dope event that attracted people because the event was dope, and then exposed whoever the artist is that we're showcasing to a new group of people that have not heard of them, that would be awesome. But what the fuck are we accomplishing if we're performing for our friends?
They're gonna support you either way, and it becomes a thing where they're supporting you, and then their friends, then the next artist that you already are cool with supports you, and their friends support you. You're part of the same thing. You're not growing.
And yeah, exactly. So like, I want to figure out what we have to do to cultivate a scene where you know people win and everyone wins. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and there's enough to go around. Like we were saying, like instead of finding competition with each other, let's work together.
And the stuff that I do that people might like is going to be different than the stuff that someone else does that people might like. Mm-hmm. Different audiences, different people. Sometimes there's an overlap, sometimes not. You know, I like certain restaurants. Some people might not fuck with those restaurants.
Yeah.
I like other restaurants. Those same people might fuck with those restaurants. You know,
and even the food. And like if you go even to a lower standard, like some people don't like the food.
Correct.
Certain food at that restaurant, but other people like other type of food at that restaurant, same restaurant. So it's just we all have different tastes. Whether you're getting showcased.
And it's all valid.
Yeah.
Everyone's taste is valid, right?
Yeah.
Like, just because it's not what I like, I recognize the merit in what everyone does, right? Like, you have to. Like, as a part of being a human, like, if shit wasn't dope, or if shit didn't resonate with people, it wouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we see around us exists because it resonates with people at some level, whether or not it resonates with you. And it's valid.
Yeah, because a lot of people, there's a lot of, like, let's say, for example, movies that they might not appeal to a mass audience, but they're, like, really technical, and, like, the Academy loves them. And then regular people that just like blockbusters, they just like to see explosions. They see those movies, that's boring. I'm not going to watch that. Like, that happens all the time. And the same with music. It just, we all have different tastes, different genres, different styles. And sometimes you just have to put it out there, create a scene.
Yeah,
I really like that, man. That's crazy.
We should do it. Like, let's do it. I'm 100% serious. Like, done.
I think that pretty much wraps up our podcast today. Then what you call it your son on Instagram?
Yeah, that's my son.
Wrapping it up. So for those people that I'll put all your links in the description, and everything that people that want to link up with you, link up with me, I'll put everything in the description.
Yeah.
You're listening on iTunes or Spotify, give it a 5-star rating, share it with your friends. And again, reach out to us because we're gonna talk about this stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
One last thing you want to say?
Yeah, if you guys can check out my music, you know, whether or not you like it or hate it, just check it out. Let me know if you're feeling it or not. You know.
Yeah, and every Friday drops a new, like, if you make music, if you produce music, you know how hard it is to create content.
Facts.
And this guy's putting quality content every single Friday, and he just committed for a whole year. So keep him in check. If he misses a Friday, you gotta go and be like, hey, bro,
100%. Shoot me out. Shoot me out.
Shoot him out, you know.
Yeah. I owe you 2 songs if that's the case, but it's not gonna ever happen.
It's not gonna happen. But thank you for coming on or inviting me here, and hopefully this is the first of many conversations we have. So
definitely appreciate it, man.
All right, bro.